Hey y'all, Ramdino here, coming at you again for another Appalachian Trail community news, through hiker update, and trail information. Well, this has been a hot week. Been a hot week here in North Kakalaki, and it has been a hot week out there on the trail. But I caught a break today when I'm doing this video for you guys, and it is not so hot today. It's very pleasant out here in my neck of the woods, and got a little breeze blowing here, so hopefully you're enjoying that. Today we're going to talk as usual about what's going on with the trail. We're going to talk about all the through hikers that are checking in with us, how they're doing out there, and they are doing great. It's awesome to hear from them. And we're going to talk about some trail information out there and what's going on with me over the next couple weeks. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So we got folks out there on the trail, Togo and Al. They have made it to Hampton, Tennessee. They do say that the heat has been very intense, but they're going to be heading on sometime, going to be flipping up. Maybe when they get to Damascus, going to be flipping up maybe to Harper's Ferry or maybe a little bit further, so that they can make sure they summit before Baxter closes down, and then they will come back around and finish the rest of their flip-flop. Lucky colleague, he has not checked in a while, but he is still in Vermont. He says the first 2 days in Vermont were water. So they've been getting a ton of water up there. And I've even seen some places around Killington where they had some huge mudslides up there. So you folks up there, particularly in the New England states, be careful up there. There is a lot of water coming down. He said it did turn in to Vermud, which I'm not sure as much of an improvement from Ver water to Vermud, but did turn into that, and he says it has definitely lived up to its name. He says the link with the long trail, he liked that area right there, and hiking on that long trail with long trailers, because the long trail serves also shares the treadway with the Appalachian Trail for a couple hundred miles in there. And so he gets a chance to talk to long trailers there, other hikers, and then even when he gets up around where the trail splits off, he said he's had a chance to talk to some PCT hikers out there that had been on the PCT. So he thought that was great. Says he is still loving every minute of it. We had talked about him maybe once or twice before, but I did want to mention again that he's hiking for cancer research. So he's got a fundraising page that he's doing. He's from England, so they have a different fundraising page than a GoFundMe page over there apparently. But anyway, it's called justgiving.com/Englishman Just Walking. So I'll leave a link down here below in the description section. Go and check that out if there's something you'd like to do that. His mom had cancer, and of course from our last video you heard about my friend who has cancer, and talked about that briefly. And so cancer, my mom's had cancer, my dad's had cancer, my grandfather's had cancer. Of course my grandfather's passed away, but my parents, still at 84 years old, are still here and doing great, all survivors. So I know that cancer can be beat, so go to that if that's something that you're interested in giving to. And Lonnie Pop, they have made it to Mount Moosilauke. They were really concerned about the whites, excited about them, but they have loved every bit of it. They say it's awesome to be here. The weather is great, but they have encountered a few biting flies there through the whites. Patriarch, he is past Duncannon and across the Susquehanna River. Did I say that right, you New Englanders? Susquehanna River? It's hard for me to say. That's a lot of syllables there. But in any case, he is crossed that, and he did his half-gallon challenge a little later than the half-gallon because he wanted to do it with his family. They kind of caught up to him and hung out, but he used the half-gallon challenge and took multiple flavors to do the half-gallon challenge. So that is a really good idea. I think I would get tired of eating the same flavor for a whole half-gallon. I don't even know if I eat a half-gallon, but anyway, that's what he did. I think that's a great idea. Cobwebrose, Snapshot, and Mountain Crusher, they have crossed over into New York. Matter of fact, they took in a couple shows there at the Warwick Drive-In Theater, so that's right across the border into New York, just like a couple tenths of a mile off the AT. And the folks there allow folks to camp for free, AT hikers to camp for free there, and take in a movie. They don't charge them to do that. And I think they even give them like a radio that they can listen to, because you know most drive-in movies now, you tune into a radio. So since on your car. So since they're hiking in, not driving in, they don't have a means to do that. So now they give them the means to do that. So that's pretty cool for them to do that. Cobweb Rose did mention that she has come pretty close to heat exhaustion. So if she thinks she's come pretty close, she's probably already been there. So it's been really hot up there, folks. You have got to be safe out there. If you start, and if you're in a tramley and hopefully you have other people around you that are watching you, or if you encounter somebody solo and you just stop and chat with them on the trail, look at them and make sure they're sweating. If they're not sweating and it's this heat and you've been sweating, particularly they're walking, that is a problem. They're probably already past the point of heat exhaustion. So you may save a life. So look at those folks, make sure they're sweating, make sure their words are not slurred. Take a look at their eyes, make sure there's not funny business going on there. Make sure they got plenty of water as well. That's one thing about this community is we're really good about sharing with each other and looking out for people. So look out for each other out there on the trail. Know the symptoms of heat exhaustion and what that looks like. Heat exhaustion and just the other heat injuries that you can handle. Let's stay safe. Let's nobody get hurt out there. Honeybun, he has made it to Harper's Ferry. He was number 2,852 when he checked in down in Georgia. And when he got to Harper's Ferry, he was number 1,178. So that's awesome. Bubbles, she is finishing PA. Good to hear from her again. She has found a tramley that she really enjoys hiking with. Smoking Burrito Treats, Barbie, Shooter, and Trail Jesus. And she just loves hiking and hanging around with them, and they keep her going. So they did a 20, a 15er, and another 20-mile days over the last 3 days through the Pennsylvania rocks. Hey, Coda. And so that is pretty good miles when you're up there on those in Rocksylvania. They also say the water caches are much appreciated and needed in this dry weather. So trail angels lately have been amazing. They say life is great. So trail angels up there, even if you're not a trail angel that puts out trail magic, those water caches are trail magic. And you may be saving a life, saving somebody from heat exhaustion. So I have heard more than one person tell me that they were out of water and they came up on a water cache. So not a good thing to do. Need to be making sure you're carrying that water, but sometimes it happens. It's happened to me where I walked into camp dry. Not a good thing to do. So you got to keep hydrated. There's no doubt about that. Stinger, he'll be in Monson either today, which is Sunday, and then he'll be starting the 100-mile wilderness on Monday. So we're looking at a week to 10 days, and he'll be on the summit at Katahdin. So that'll be awesome. Boston, he is through the presidentials, and he had a warm day up there on Mount Washington. Mount Washington's had snow every day of the year over the years, not all in one year, but over the years. So you never know what the conditions are going to be on Mount Washington. But he said he stayed at the dungeon there, Lake of the Clouds hut, which is, I believe, the hut right before Mount Washington. And he said the name really fits. So that is a dark, dank place that I have seen people stay there, and it's really more of an emergency shelter. But if you get up there, Lake of the Clouds, and you can't do work for staying, you don't want to pay for a place to stay or they're full, you're kind of stuck either staying in the dungeon or hiking extra miles to get down below a tree line and get to a place where you can find a place to put in tent stakes. Kenny Powers, he has made it to Harper's Ferry. He was number 1,240. BD, she has made it to Maine, and it looks like bug nets are required. So, and she was coming out of New Hampshire in this picture. So bug nets look like were a necessity for her there in New Hampshire. Ron 78, he is summited Mount Musalaki. And Oz, the hiking sailor, he is somewhere around mile 1,835. So he's kind of been hiking solo, hadn't really been hiking with a tramley, but he says he does run into a lot of day hikers that he stops and chats with. And if you know Oz at all, he's going to stop and chat with you, whether you want him to or not. No, Oz is a great guy. And I consider him one of my trail friends out there. So, but in any case, he's still liking the trail. He says there's very few nobos around him, so he's kind of in a place where there's not many nobos, although that's kind of unusual because the bubble's really kind of in that area. But he says he can count about 7 nobos that are within 2 days in front of him. So those are the folks that have checked in this past week. If you're a thru hiker out there and want to check in, or know a thru hiker and you can share this channel with them, then if you're a thru hiker, check in. Just you can do that through any of those links down below, through IG or Facebook, or just sending me an email. All those links are down below, and love to have you check in. Love to hear what's going on. Give us trail updates. What's going on the trail? Any type of heat issues going on. There's probably a lot, particularly flooding right now. There's been a lot of flooding on the trail, so want to know about that, or any places that you couldn't ford that you had to get around. So send us all those updates. All that intel is good for folks that are behind you out there, or even folks that are in front of you who are solo hiking or flip-flopping. So keep that in mind. All that information is good for folks out there. And then we did have a summit, not from a thru hiker, but from a section hiker who finished his sectioning of the Appalachian Trail, and that was Buzz Lightyear. He's a no-bow lash hiker, so lash means long ASS section hiker, which I'm going to do in Massachusetts. But so he has done the trail over the last 3 years in 3 sections. So typically they consider a lash 100 miles or more. So obviously, if he's finished the trail in 3 years with 3 section hikes, he's done 3 lashes. But he finished that on July 2nd, so congratulations to you, Buzz Lightyear. That is awesome. Glad to hear it. A lot of other summits, folks, that we were not tracking out there, but I have seen some on Fresh Ground's page there. He always posts people that he's fed that have reported back into him. So go and check out Fresh Ground and Leapfrog Cafe, and he can give you some folks that you may be following that are not checking in with us or with me, and that way you can see who else has summited out there. And I want to give a huge thanks out to a couple folks that sent in some super chats. That was William Drummond 9667. Thanks a lot to him. He had actually sent in one the week before that, so appreciate you, William. And then Thix 2112, so THIX 2112. Thanks a lot for your super chat as well out there. Super chat is basically a way that folks can support this channel in a monetary way by just giving basically a tip or something like that. All those help. You could also go, and that link is down below to give a super chat. You could also support this channel by being a Patreon member, and that link's down below as well. But really how you can support this channel in a non-monetary way is to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to it, leave a comment down below. Love your comments, like chatting with folks through that, and just enjoy that camaraderie that we share through the comment section and elsewhere. So some news is going on out there on the trail, and this comes in from a subscriber. And subscribers, this is one way that I glean a lot of my news that are coming in. People will point stuff out to me over the week, and appreciate that. So Ewok in the Woods, she's a subscriber. She says there's a flood watch in for New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts through Monday. So apparently they've been having a lot of rain and gonna get hit with even some more rain. And then she also sent in a notice for the 2nd annual Bennington, Vermont Trail Fest. So that's Bennington, Vermont, and that is going to be on July 29th from 11 to 3 p.m. So they're going to give free food and entertainment, info tables, trivia contests, trail talk by hikers, for hikers, hiker and be a local event combined. So they'll have different vendors there. It's going to be at the Bennington Community Recreation Center there on 655 Gage Street from noon to 2:30 on July 29th from 11 to 3. They will have shuttles to and from trailheads on Sunday morning to both Route 9 and other nearby trailheads. They're going to give free rides to resupply the local grocery stores after Trail Fest, and free lunch at Trail Fest on Saturday, and a free pancake breakfast with eggs, bacon, and coffee on Sunday morning afterwards to the hikers. So, boy, they are really walking the dog up there. They're doing a lot for folks up there. You know, usually you get a free pancake breakfast and it's just pancakes and that's it, which thanks for the free pancakes if you do that. But they're giving bacon and eggs too. So, and if you're in Vermont, you're going to get some of that good Vermont maple syrup. So that is awesome for the folks up there in Bennington. Thanks a lot for helping hikers out for that. And then we've also got another one that this is going to be a first AT Hiker Appreciation Day coming from Unionville, New York. Now, the bubble's really going to be beyond Unionville, New York, but maybe the tail end will be around there, or some flip-floppers will be around there. So this is their first time doing that, and that's going to be on July 22nd at 2 p.m. there at the Unionville Community Center. They are working on their application to be an AT community. So that's a system that the ATC has set up. So you have to go through them to be recognized by the ATC as an AT community. And not sure what that gets you. You do get signs you put up, and sure there's some things it does to help the town out with tourism and economic development, things like that. But in any case, that's what they're working on, and this is what a lot of towns do, is they have festivals that have that. Like I said before, the heat is very high on the trail. Today we may have a break, but it is going to be, it's that time of year, folks. It's July and August coming up, so all of those are going to be going to create issues for heat injuries on the trail. So need to be careful out there. Leave a comment down below. Tell me how you're dealing with the heat. You know, are you doing less miles? Are you doing more zeros or Neros either at shelters or in town? Are you starting early? Or are you stopping early? So all those things, folks out there want to know how people deal with the heat out there. And so send those in to me. I'd love to hear about those and love to be able to pass that information on to others. Trail Angel Spineless Cougar, he has sent us in several trail news, and he's done so again. He is a trail angel up there typically in Vermont, and he is sets up his trail magic there, feeds people. One of the things that he does is he tries to get folks to weigh their packs, and he sends those pack weights in, and I think that's very interesting to see because thru hikers tune into this channel. They tune into it to listen to other thru hikers because they don't have the time or the bandwidth to, since they're on trail, to go out and go to everybody's website, or everybody's Instagram account or Facebook or YouTube or whatever. So they literally keep up through this channel, and I know that because they've told me that. And so it's interesting to see for them how their pack weights have changed since they left in comparison to other folks. So Spineless Cougar, the pack weights he gave me, there was anywhere from 12 pounds to 61 pounds. So both of those are incredible weights. I don't see how you carry 61 pounds around on your back for 2,194.8 miles. That's crazy. It's crazy to do it for 1 mile around the freaking block, much less all the way up the trail. And then the 12-mile guy, I don't know. I guess I don't know what he's got in that bag. I mean, my food bag and water weigh about 10 pounds. So he's got 2 pounds of, I don't know what else he's got in there. Probably no clothes. But anyway, the average of those he sent me was somewhere around 28, which is typically what my weight is. Now in the summer it drops down a few pounds, but that's normally where I'm at. So thanks to him and Roof Walker, who manned that Trail Magic site, for being trail angels out there. They also said that hikers are reporting that there's lots of mud in Vermont. No kidding. This time of year, though, it's usually not quite as muddy because it's usually a little drier. But when Come Along went through our first year up there and did probably 2/3 of Vermont, it was vermud, and that was miserable. So we spent more time looking down our feet, trying to figure out where to put them and dodge the really deep mud. You just can't dodge it all. Then we did looking at the trail and looking at sites. Plus it rained constantly, and if we hadn't had retread there supporting us, we'd have been in big trouble. But the second year we went, it didn't rain so much, and it was a very enjoyable experience. So just depends on when you hit Vermont is the whether or not how it's going to work for you or not. But Spineless Cougar also said there's more rain and thunderstorms expected next week. Subscriber Awoken Ghost, she sent in from Maine that they have had rain 25 out of the past 30 days, and there is still no let up. She says, please look at the forecast. We need to build an ark up here. And they're urging all hikers to tune into the forecast. The forecast through the first of the next week looks like 50% chance of rain everywhere in the northern section of the trail. And so I'm going to be in the northern section of the trail. I don't like hiking in the rain. I'm kind of a fair weather hiker, I'll be the first to admit. But I already got my plane tickets bought, so don't really have a choice in the matter. So folks out there, just avoid the rain where you can. Otherwise, be prepared to hike through it. And then Whispers, our northern correspondent, he indicated that the Riga shelter is complete. So that means that both the shelters there in northern Connecticut are complete, the Riga and the Brassa Brook shelters. So they have finished those, I don't know, I think in record time. Rock Gap, it took them a couple months to do that. So they did both of those in maybe 6 weeks or so. So they did a good job of that. Tear down and putting it back up, so they got all new brand new shelters there, so that is awesome. And then he also indicated that next week looks like a washout in the northern states, expecting 2 inches of rain in the Whites and in Maine starting Monday. So what needs to happen is the rain get out of here first of the week, and then when I'm leaving to get up there in Massachusetts on Friday, then it gets sort of dry, but not hot. I don't know if you can have it both ways or not. And then also last week I spoke to y'all a little bit about my friend and how what it meant to me, my friend with glioblastoma, and how that was probably going to be changing my lifestyle and how much the tempo of putting out videos and stuff. And I appreciate a lot of y'all sent in and said you'd be praying for him and for me. I greatly appreciate that. You don't know how much that means to me. One thing I need to correct from last week, and that was I said, I don't know where you are spiritually. I don't know if you're a believer. And then I proceeded to tell my story. It's not good enough to believe in the Lord. This is not a religious channel. Not going to be real preachy here, but I want to correct that statement. It's not good enough to believe in the Lord. The devil believes in the Lord. The demons believe in the Lord. You have to accept him as your Lord and Savior and your sovereign God for you to have salvation. Full stop, period. So keep that in mind. Again, I suggest you check into it. If nobody's out there that's ever talked to you about that before, check into it, and maybe the Lord will send somebody. Maybe he just sent me. But no matter what, I appreciate your prayers. If you're somebody who doesn't pray and just wants to send good vibes to me as I get ready to start my hike, please send me those good vibes, goodwill, whatever you do out there. I appreciate everything that this hiker community does. There's all kind of folks in this hiker community that come from all kind of beliefs, and I hope that that you will send whatever you send to me, particularly your prayers out there. I greatly appreciate that, and thanks for everybody that told me about that. So like I said before, I'll be on trail starting this Friday for the whole week, through Friday, doing all of Massachusetts subo. I am really, really pumped up about getting out there. If I see you out there on a trail, please come up. If you recognize me, or please come up and say hey to me. Always, just if nothing else, throw my hand up and tell people happy hiking when they come by. But if they stop and want to talk, then I'm going to dialogue with them, because that's what it's all about, this community. So I look forward to seeing folks out there. That's all I got this week, everybody. Appreciate you, and I hope to see you on trail next week.